Okay, been a lot of discussion over the last several years about throttles. Now, most people, most builders use a ball valve. I personally think that the ball valves don't work that good. They're not really meant to throttle, as I think Bill Shields mentioned in the latest post regarding what throttles to use. And I've been a big advocate of the quick opening gate valve, which I'm going to show you one in a minute. And the control is extremely good with them. Now, I've also mentioned that I don't like to have little notches on my throttle, the quadrant here inside the cab, because the throttle could get stuck, okay? And you just nudge that by accident, and next thing you know, the engine's going into a pit. You're panicking, you're trying to close it, and you can't grab it. This way I can just slap it closed if that should happen, which has never happened to me, and hopefully it never will. But at the present time, this is all the way forward. Now, and Dan, if you notice some of our videos of the locomotive running, he pulls it back about that far, and he's traveling a good 10 miles an hour. And I could go all the way back that far. So he's only about a third open, a third of this quadrant. Now I have it set up with leverage so that I got quite a bit of control here. And I'll show you the valve in a minute. It doesn't open that much. And that's why I like the quick opening gate valve. I learned about the quick opening gate valve 40 years ago, and I got this idea from John Muldowney, who's an admired friend of mine. I admire him quite a bit. He built a few nice engines, and he was a steam fitter and a plumber, and he used the quick opening gate valve. Now, one other thing I should mention about the quick opening gate valve is the Cagney locomotives use those, and if I'm not mistaken, and Big John could testify to this if I'm correct, I think the Crowns use that as well, because the Crowns somewhat mimic the Cagney style, but they have a quick opening gate valve back here for the throttle, and they work pretty good, I think. Now I'm going to show you. I have one here. This is the commercial valve that is made by Walworth. Now the ones that Joe Tansky gets are, I think, a Chinese valve, but they're as good as these, and they're really the only ones available. I don't think the Walworths are available anymore. I happen to go to our local plumbing supply here in town, Lincoln Supply, and the owner is a friend, and he had a lot of interest in my locomotives here. And I asked him, I said, Larry, do you have any quick opening gate valves? And he said, yes. And he says, yeah, I got a lot of them. We hardly ever sell them. Well, I went in the bin back there, and he must have had a dozen. So I've used those on every locomotive that I've ever built. I've never used anything else, and I just, like I said before, I just think the ball valve is not the way to go, and I want to show you now a close-up of why I'm saying that. Now, this is the valve itself here. Let me get it straight. Okay, now, let me get this a little bit backwards. Okay, here we are. All right, now, if you notice the handle, how far the handle turns, here we get it this way. You notice that I don't go very far. Like this is vertical, say, right? And that's fully open. I'm going about 15 degrees there. And I'm fully open. I'm going to shoot it right down inside so you can see it moving. Okay, now there's inside there's two discs that float like this. They're on a little pin, and they float. So when they go down, they wedge themselves into a wedge-shaped chamber in here, so it tightens up, and it works pretty good. Yeah, I get a little leakage, not a big deal. Most valves leak anyway. Now here's a small valve, but it's a ball valve anyway, and you can see now I'm going to open it. There, and I've turned it. Let me turn this off. Get that off there. Now, just to get about the same opening, I got to make that almost 45 degrees. So if you're putting that inside the throttle, either this way or that way, yeah, you know, you have to reposition the handle so it's 45, so it's going from 45, 90 degrees, you know. And it gives like a half moon effect, like kind of like like this inside there, like a half moon effect, so that when the steam is abrasive, it cuts across there, and it causes, after a while, it causes the seat to erode. So one of the reasons why I don't like them. Second reason why you don't have as much control. If you set up the leverage correctly, you got a really good smooth throttle. And believe me, if you watch some of the videos, Dan sets that throttle like that, and man, we're going flat out 10 miles an hour, no problem, and runs smooth as glass. And you got to control. If you're going to go uphill a little bit, you pull it back a little bit more. Going downgrade, it might touch it just a nudge down. And if you get the leverage correctly, if you get the linkage correctly, so you get plenty of control, you're hardly moving that. So if you figure I'm moving this quite a distance to get from this to that. So you see it's almost 3 times as much. So you got to just figure it out, and it worked out okay for me. Every engine's different. I can't say, hey, you could use this. By the way, I like mine up here on the top. None of this stuff through the window, none of this stuff down here like Quasimodo around the corner. You got to sit up here nice and comfortable, man, and you're just booking along down the railroad, no problem. You've seen our videos, see how nice and smooth the 1361 runs. Many people made comments how smooth the engine actually operates, and we have a lot of control with this type of valve. So that's my 2 cents about the valves, the throttle valves. If you want to use it, fine. If you want to continue to use ball valves, that's your prerogative to do so. I just wanted to give you the other alternative, what I think. I've had quite a number of people say that the engine runs real smoothly, the throttle's so controllable. Well, that's what I owe it to, is that the combination of the quick opening gate valve and a smooth throttle up here, no notches and with a little thing over here that may hang up on you. Big trouble. Big trouble. I mean, I know there's going to be guys that are going to say, that works for me. Well, that's okay. If it works for you, use it. For me, I don't like it. It's just my prerogative. Chevy, Ford, Lincoln, Cadillac. You take it. And one other thing, I have 2 3/4 cylinders, 3.5-inch stroke, and I'm using 3/8 OD tubing. 3/8 OD tubing. Plenty of steam. Plenty. My third feeling is that you want to kind of keep the steam condensed or, compressed more until it gets to the cylinder to give you that much more expansion. Might be insignificant, but that's the way I see it. It's just a thought. I have no problems. If I built a bigger engine, say a 484 or something larger, I might go to a larger pipe because you got a bigger engine, heavier. If I built a 2.5-inch scale, going to mention it, talking about East Broad Top right now, EBT 282s. If I can get the plans, that's what I want to build. Dan doesn't want to, but I know it's a big engine, but I'm thinking about it. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the throttle. Take it for what it's worth.